Hello, Cancer, and welcome to your bi-weekly reading. This is for Cancer's sun or rising sign for the full moon on June 3rd to the new moon on June 17th. So that is the period of time that we are doing these readings for. And I know that I've been incorporating some astrology with the videos recently, but that was making them so long. So I am actually doing something different. I just put out a video for the first half of June with all of the astrology highlights, and it has timestamps so you can skip ahead to different dates. So that way we can keep these short and sweet, right? Because they were meant to be. The longer videos for the month overall, those are also out, so you can also check that out. And those are typically longer, like 15-ish minutes or so long. So we're doing a little different spread for this particular phase of the moon. I know I've been doing it kind of a certain way, but I feel like the way I've been doing it fits more like the new to full moon phase. So we're looking at a couple of different things. So we'll be looking at what shadow or what belief is in the, in our blind spot, or just like kind of hanging out in the background there, that is holding you back from creating what it is that you want to create. Like often it's just like there's a linchpin where if we were to like work with that one thing, it would just kind of domino effect and open up a whole bunch of possibilities, or like have the energy flow more so that we can create what we want, right? And then some spiritual advice for how to actually move through that. And then we're going to take a look at also how can you align your actions with your values and what you're creating in your life, right? So we say often like, I have this vision about what I want to create for myself. And then, we go about doing life a different way, in ways that don't serve the vision that we have, or like the new value structure that we say that we're committed to. So we're going to look at how can you be in action in a way that is aligned with that, so you can really move that forward and get some traction there, but also taking a look at what kinds of other spiritual guidance you have just to kind of ferry you through the next 2 weeks. So which could or could not be connected to the cards that we'll pull previously, but at least it'll be connected to just like overall, what is the advice you're getting from universe, spirit guides, whatever you believe in, that will help you ferry through the next 2-week period of time, right? So without really getting into the astrology, I'll just mention that the full moon is going to be in Sagittarius for tropical astrology, and Scorpio and sidereal astrology, and it will go to the new moon in Gemini, which is in tropical astrology. We'll talk about the astrology stuff in another video. Let's get to it, right? By the way, this is a new deck. Yay! I feel like most months there's a new deck. I have a deck thing. So I've been waiting for this particular video series to break these out, so I'm very excited about them. We're taking a look at what I said, which is the how can you align your actions with the vision that you have for yourself, with what you say you really want. I'm feeling like it's this one here. Let me move these up so that we can have them in frame. And also, again, just like what kinds of advice is going to help you with ferrying, I'm feeling this one here, going to ferry you through the next 2-week period of time. Ooh, I love how the color scheme actually matches up there. That's pretty cool. I like that. And 2 major arcana cards, so I thought I had that in frame. Very cool. Okay. Let's start with the shadow card and work our way through that into this. I think like that's the way we can let's move to the hard stuff first. I'm kind of that person where it's like, give me the hard stuff first and then smooth it over with like the good news, right? So peaceful amongst the thorns, right? And this is a shadow card from a shadow deck. So, know that it's coming up because it's meant to point to something that is maybe difficult for us to look at, something that we choose not to look at, something that we'd rather say, no, that's not me, or sweep it under the rug, that type of a thing. So usually like there are a couple of meanings that I get with this particular card, and I'm gonna speak to both of them because, hey, like, let's just talk about both sides. This is a collective reading. I want to give you guys as much information as possible in as short amount of time as possible. We all know that I'm long-winded. So peaceful amongst the thorns, I think this is about also some of you are just like staying in these situations that are toxic and applying, you know, like all of your tools, maybe from the best intentions to like keep the peace, to do whatever it is, and you're like doing your personal work, but there comes a point where the situation just is what it is, and it's toxic because it's toxic, and you need to just get the fuck out. Like, it's time to stop applying the spiritual stuff, and it's time to get out. You sitting there and being able to be peaceful in the midst of painful things in life is important, but there is a point where staying inside of that too long becomes toxic to yourself and is no longer serving you. So that's one aspect. The other that I want to speak to is like, you know, in a world where spiritual bypassing has become another one of the phrases that is meaningful but overused, and how much people do that, this card I feel like speaks to that particular kind of way of being, where it's just like, you know, you got a money problem? Oh, be like throw spirituality and like manifesting and affirmations at it, right? It's like, you have a relationship problem, throw the same things. Like if you have like a sex problem, throw, you know, spirituality at it. And not to say that there isn't an importance in like being able to incorporate spirituality in your tool belt for applying it to all of these things. But sometimes the answers are more mundane. Sometimes the answers are more based in the world of the physical. Sometimes to break up tension in a relationship, you just need to fuck. Sometimes when you need money, you don't need to do another money manifesting candle ceremony. You need to get your ass out there and find some opportunities and make it work for you. So that might be challenging for some people to hear, but look, I say this just as much for me as anybody else. It's like sometimes I need the reminder that I need to remember like these kinds of lessons, right? So that's what I have showing up for you. At the same time, the spiritual advice that we have coming through is the King or the Knight of Cups. And the Knights are all about action. They all take action in a different way though, right? So according to their element. So we have the element of cups, which is water. The Knight of Cups is really speaking to like, hey, take action in moving towards the things that bring you true ease and joy and happiness, you know, that bring you true growth, true solace, true all of the good feelings that really nurture and nourish your internal landscape and your emotions and everything, right? So move in the direction of the things that feel good. Sometimes it really is that simple as well. You know, like there is a toxic side to that, right? If you're always only doing that and never doing anything that's challenging, right? Like there's a shadow side to everything. But in this particular case, I feel like it does go well with like, okay, well, how can you start to break down this energy? Especially if you're someone who's staying in a situation that is like, it's past its time, like it's expired and you need to like throw that out, right? And so this might be helpful to remember to start to go in a direction where you are moving towards the things that feel good, to remind you of that, but also because the more you incorporate the things that feel like truly good to your soul, truly good for your body, for your mental and emotional health, for all these things that like light you up, that make your heart feel lighter, that make your heart feel softer and more open, the more you move in those directions, the less room you have to entertain these kinds of scenarios, right? Likewise, if you're someone who is like the last part of what I was talking about, just kind of like throwing kind of spiritual platitudes at mundane, like physical reality type problems, this might be helpful in that you are taking action, right? You are actually moving towards like doing the things that feel good to you. You know, if it's like, again, like the example that I gave, I know it came in a little bit maybe harsh in some of that, but it's like, let's say that it's about the making money thing. Well, moving towards doing the things that you love to do for money, it of course is not like always going to be something that immediately like a magic wand, it solves everything. But if you're consistently taking action and moving towards those things, you can be bringing in money from something that is more along the lines of what you enjoy, even if it's just a stepping stone, like, hey, this is closer to something I would want to do than this like maybe job that I've been in that is like driving me insane and totally zapping my mental and emotional health, right? Likewise with like relationships and all these different kinds of things, right? So I feel like these go together pretty well. So let's move on to the second two cards, right? So again, here we're taking a look at how can you be in action? How can you align your actions with what it is that you say you value, that you're committed to creating in your life? Like, what do you want to create? What's the life you're creating? And are you in alignment with what you're doing for that? So two things, a lot of things about this card. It's a major arcana card. I feel like that's definitely a stronger message, but then also, I get different things in different readings, of course. And this particular one, what kind of stood out to me is like, hey, there's a consequence to the actions or inactions that we take or don't take in this world, right? And I find it interesting that we have like the Knight of Cups that was showing up that's also about action, right? And also this particular card and how that ties in as well. So I feel like this is kind of speaking to something that's echoing that. It's like, hey, your action or inaction has consequences. If you don't like the consequences of your actions or inactions, then shift it. And also the Justice card can be about this personal, staying true to yourself and being aligned with staying true to yourself and taking fair, balanced action towards what would create that for you. Right? This is not someone who's going to go about creating their life in this really like waving their sword in this kind of like messy kind of way and just like hacking away at life and who cares who gets hurt, right? This is someone who is more conscious about the way that they go about doing this, right? So the conversations that you have, the actions that you take, making sure that they are more in alignment with fairness and balance, right? For any of you who are going through any kind of legal stuff, if you are, I feel like it's something to mention is, again, with the consequences and making sure that you're fair in that context. But I don't really feel like that's something I'm getting strongly. I just like to mention it sometimes because it's not talked about very often with the Justice card. So then we have also like, okay, so what is the spiritual advice that you're getting, the extra guidance that you're getting to help ferry you across, to help you navigate this next 2-week period of time, right? These are short increments. We're looking at it for a 2-week period of time. And what we have showing up is the Strength card, right? There are a lot of ways that I've described the Strength card. One of the things that I'll speak to in this particular case is like we see this maiden who is taming this like wild beast, and she does this through the power of her courage and the strength that comes through from a very strong place of like groundedness and knowing herself, right? She's doing this in a loving and gentle and very like gentle strength is what comes through for this, right? She's not fighting at it. She's not hacking away at it. She's not whipping it. She's not trying to, like I'm thinking of circuses or whatever. She's not trying to tame the animal in that way. She's doing it through a place of consciousness, consistency, patience, lovingness, and that kind of courage and strength that it would take to calmly approach the things or the people that we consider like the beasts in our world, the things that we are afraid to face. And the beast represents like this, our hopes and our fears. It represents, the places inside ourselves that we tend to maybe not quite turn around and face completely dead on. But when we're able to work with the beast in the way that is consistent and gentle and has that kind of strength and the courage to stand there, and face what's there for us to face, and we integrate it with us, we're able to tame the beast and it walks beside us, and we hold that as a place of like real power and real strength to move through any of the challenges that we have. So I hope that feels inspiring or helpful for you in terms of like how you might adopt as an experiment, even how you can work through any of the challenges or things that you're working through for this next 2-week period of time, is thinking of the maiden and how she might approach this. It's like, think about if whether you were like, you saw this wild lion, on the Serengeti or something like that. And, if you were to be in a state of complete and absolute calm and to approach it like full openness, full calmness. Now, we would say in real life, that would be ridiculous and very not wise for someone to do. But imagine the kind of presence and strength and courage you would need to have to approach this in a calm way versus by freaking out or doing like any of the reactions that we normally would have from an instinctual place. So it's more conscious versus instinctual. So I hope that this was helpful. If this was, please consider giving the video a like. It does help the channel. Also, I love to know any kind of feedback. So this is a new reading that I'm doing. So if you feel like letting me know, feel free to let me know. Like I said, I will put up on the screen the 2 different videos that you can go check out so you can kind of like choose your own adventure. We'll just try that out for this set of videos. You can go check out the June astrology highlights with timestamps there, or you can go check out the overall month for Cancers for the month of June for the tarot reading. That's a bigger spread and it's a little bit longer reading. So feel free to look at both. And if you have enjoyed this, please consider subscribing as well or hitting the notification bell, because as I continue to put more videos out there, more astrology, more tarot, different things, combining them, I have a lot of things on the horizon to experiment with over the next few months in this year. So that way you know when things drop. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.